Happy birthday to Batman Arkham Asylum. One of my favorite games of all time. I honestly go back and forth on whether or not this might be my favorite of the Arkham games. This game is 12 years old as of yesterday. I am a little bit behind on uploading this, but hey, it's okay. It gave the birthday one day to marinate. And here we are. Arkham Asylum was such a special game. I've talked so many times about this game, why it was special, why I love it, and Arkham has always had and will always continue to have a place on this channel, even as we move into new topics and new ideas. And why is that? You know, why do we always talk or always come back to this? Is it just because it's popular? No. Is it because it's all I want to talk about? No. Well, why is it? It's because it's so special. Like, seriously, this game is amazing. The way that it starts out with you essentially being Batman, confined in a small island, was something that is too often lacking in games. Usually this sort of environment is found more in horror games now, more than it is in any other sort of game. And speaking of that, this game really did go in on the horror elements of Batman. This game is actually straight up disturbing at many points, including several of the Scarecrow hallucinations that you go throughout the game, along with just the general atmosphere and disturbing vibes from the dialogue itself. You are not only making your way through to take out a lunatic killer clown, so to say, in the Joker, along with several other villains, but you are also making your way through a asylum. This place is filled to the brink with insane people and insane concepts, and also those who were running the asylum are not exactly so sane themselves when we take a look at everything going on, especially with a character like Amadeus Arkham, with everything happening with him and his secret hidden haunted files that you get to find throughout the game. There was discovery around every turn in Arkham Asylum, and an environment that made you feel isolated, trapped, and alone. You were Batman with your gadgets, fighting against an army of thugs, supervillains, and miscellaneous others, along with looming threats in the background. There also were so many secrets hidden in this game, especially for the first entry in a series. It is just amazing how much they were able to pack in here, especially with the Joker. Being able to return to the visitor center and talk to Joker at different times, essentially getting psychologically profiled by the Joker as Batman, was a really interesting twist on the character dynamic between the two of them. And they were also able to introduce Batman's gadgets and weapons without making you feel overpowered. For example, the Batmobile was brought onto the island, but it's relatively useless there. There's not actually a lot that he can do with that Batmobile on the island. You really get to it, you defend it, you grab like one gadget out of it, and that's it. And then you are off to follow Commissioner Gordon's cigar trail. I was gonna say cigarette. But they're able to bring these things in, the Batwing, the Batmobile, even something like his explosive gel, his batarangs, sonic batarangs, all this stuff. And I hate the IGN meme of it makes you feel like Batman, but it truly did. If Arkham City is beloved for how much it opened up the franchise, how much it spread its wings, allowed Batman to free roam around a massive city and go different places, finding different side quests along with main missions along the way and Riddler trophies, Arkham Asylum should actually be beloved for being the opposite. It is a focused, narrative-driven, exploration-based, horror-inspired asylum adventure. There's a lot of different things to this, but one of the craziest things about this game is while you play as a superhero, it felt so unique and different to so many other superhero games because of that claustrophobic, horror-inspired atmosphere and everything that they threw at you along the way. I also have to say that the Riddler does not get enough praise in this game, believe it or not. Now, I know looking back through very, very question mark tinted glasses at this point, for any fans of the franchise that have been playing for years, the Riddler is an annoying douche. Like, people were very, very tired of him by the time that they got to Arkham Knight, and there was a lot of Riddler stuff to do in that game, some of it really overstuffing the world. I mean, there was just so much. But with Arkham Asylum, I found that the Riddler puzzles and trophies really struck a unique balance to adding to the world. They were around just enough to pepper the environments and the world with more life and more activities to do, as Batman would have to solve puzzles and also solve different ways to get into areas to get these Riddler trophies. But they also tested your mind more than really any other game did. In terms of the Riddler trophies that I can think of, even the Enigma data packs in Origins. With this game's Riddler incorporation, there were so many, I guess, how would I say this? There was a great ratio of puzzles and riddles to actual trophies to find. One issue I personally had with later games in the series, without making this about why Asylum is better, because it's not necessarily, but one issue I had with them was that I felt that the Riddler trophies had to be so plentiful and so peppered across the maps that they almost overshadowed the puzzles and the riddles that you would actually solve as Batman when facing off against the Riddler. With this, there are so many different references to characters, including even ridiculously obscure ones like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, where they actually have a riddle associated with these characters. And there are riddles in a lot of different places, again, adding to the overall world. It's not just flavor text where you find a little Easter egg and think, oh, cool, you know, Prometheus exists here. There are different riddles tied to progression with that side mission in the game. Now, this doesn't mean that Batman Arkham Asylum is absolutely perfect. I mean, it certainly isn't. It has its blemishes, for sure, when looking back at it, again, through the experience of having games that have come out after it. For example, its combat obviously is a little more archaic and a little more rigid than something like it was in Arkham City, or even Knight. And again, you had access to probably a few less interesting gadgets than you did later on in the games, and the boss fights, they left some things to be desired, for sure, along with a map that after you beat the game was just there to find Riddler riddles and trophies. I get that. You know, there are definitely blemishes and things that people have that they did not really enjoy about Arkham Asylum, but when it launched, it was such a unique game, and it holds up so well. It's a game that has stood the test of time. It's a game I play through over and over again, finding new things pretty much each time hidden in little crevices and cracks throughout the game, and it is probably the best that I can think of horror-inspired game with those elements that is not just a straight-up horror game. This is a game that fits for most gamers, I would say. You don't have to necessarily love Batman to get into it. It's a very interesting introduction to the character. It really can be something that gets you into this character, but it also is able to pay so much homage and tribute to fans of this character from before. A great example of this is obviously Paul Dini's writing shines into the game. We can see that this was very clearly inspired as almost a darker take even than we already got on Batman the Animated Series, with voice actors returning, different stylistic elements that really tied into that animated series, and other things like that. I thought that that was really cool, even though, you know, this later on was branched off into its own Arkham universe and is not part of the DC animated universe. This was clearly made as a love letter to Batman, to who he is, what he stands for, a one-man walking army who can take out a room full of thugs, but prefers to go one by one, taking them out as he goes. He is portrayed as both a detective who is able to solve riddles and figure out puzzles, and also a master of combat and stealth in this game, along with a character who relates very well in different dynamics to his rogues gallery. I love this game. I honestly cannot recommend it enough to those who haven't played it. It is it's like a masterpiece. It's a masterfully created game that has its blemishes, but is just fantastic. So I'm interested to hear what you think. One thing I wanted to ask in this video is what you love about this game, or maybe you don't love Arkham Asylum compared to the other games in the franchise. I know some people, it's actually their least favorite. So why is this game where it is for you? What do you think about it? And do you have any special, I bit my tongue, special memories with this game that, really stood out to you? What do you think about it? I'm interested to hear what you think in the comments down below. And hey, while you're down there, we have been working really hard to expand the content on this channel, movie reviews, all kinds of other stuff. What's something you want to see from this channel going forward? I'm very interested to read what you guys have to say down there. I appreciate you very, very much. And once again, happy birthday, obviously one day late. I'm so sorry, but I'm fashionably late as always, to Batman Arkham Asylum. Please like this video if you liked it, if you enjoyed it. Tell me what you think, and subscribe for more content. I appreciate you very much. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and as always, stay shway. Thank you for sticking it out to the end of the video. You are very, very awesome, and one of the real ones. Today, I wanted to say a super special thank you to all of our amazing patron subscribers. Honestly, the thing with the Patreon is that it helps keep the lights on the channel. It helps us have time to do other content that we normally would not have time for, including the movie reviews, which are more of a niche community thing, and I appreciate the Patreon so much. So if you're interested, please be sure to check it out, as it does include access to over 80 special videos, actually behind the scenes videos and other stuff exclusive to Patreon. It is approaching 100 now, so we're getting up there. And a huge thank you to some of our patrons, including Jonah, Seth, Andre, Ricardo, Michael, and Caleb. You guys rock so much, and everybody over on the Patreon is fantastic. I appreciate you all, and I hope you guys will check that out. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.